Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Train, and as an intuitive guide, energy healer, and meditation teacher, I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things energy and intuition. Everything I share is with the hope to help you remember how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher. Hello, welcome to your intuitive week for the week of June 2nd. June 2nd, here we are, the first week of June. If you have not listened to the full month June energy impressions, then I would definitely recommend that is the last episode, so easy to go back and listen to that one. Maybe listen to that one first and then check in with the weekly, just so you have more of a scope of clarity and insight and guidance as you move through the month. And yes, I also share more of a personal update there too. And yes, thank you to all of you who did message me and reached out and also letting me know how much the June energy impressions had already resonated with you a few days before we jumped into June. I really appreciate you reaching out. It is one of the best parts about doing this podcast is connecting with you. And a little reminder that on June 21st, I will be hosting my Art of Intuitive Spoon Bending workshop, class, whatever you want to call it. It's 2 hours with me on Zoom, and it is really one of my favorite workshops to host. I have not hosted one this year. It is the first one for this year, so I'm really excited. And yes, if you are interested in experiencing the difference between dreaming about something that really feels impossible and actually seeing it happen before your eyes, seeing the impossible become the possible, it is one of the best things about learning the art of spoon bending, of intuitive spoon bending. No, you're not putting it on the table and using your mind. You have to use your hands. And isn't that the truth with anything that we are manifesting, calling in, wanting to create? You have to create an action. And this workshop is really a mirror for your mindset, and it will help you understand your trust, the energy of your trust, and the energy of how you act on your inspirations, that inspired action. So if you would like to learn how to release the subconscious hurdles that may be in the way of what you are creating, in the way of your manifestations, whatever word you want to use, if you would love to learn how to bend a common metal spoon, if you would love to learn how to feel and really feel the transcendence of the energy of your limitations, and if you would love to have a nice 2-hour magical but grounded circle of intuitive development where you will really learn all these new ways to trust and surrender and connect to yourself. Remember this authentic you, because that's the energy that you are tuning into. And if you cannot join us live, then as long as you get your ticket, you will have access to the replay within 24 hours. Just scroll down in the show notes of where you are listening to this podcast episode, and you will see the link that you can click on and find out all the information that you need and where to buy your tickets as well. All right, so let's dive into your intuitive week of June 2nd, 2025. Now, a little refresher that what I do for these energy updates, energy impressions, is I go into a nice deep meditation with the intention to receive insight and guidance to help us navigate, to help us connect with our own intention, what we may need to remember or focus on or release for the week. So I will share what I received in the meditation and take what resonates, leave the rest. And I also have some intuitive questions at the end to help you connect even more to what you need to remember for this week or whenever you're listening to this. Because if you found this episode and you're listening to it, there is something in it for you. So really trust your intuition, trust what resonates, and yes, let's see what we can do for this first week of June. So, the first thing that came in through my meditation for this week was a lot of attention on the solar plexus, but in a way that was bringing quite a bit of anxiety. It was a tightness, it was an anxious, contracted feeling within the solar plexus, which is a bit above the navel and underneath the chest. Often we connect to the stomach there. This is our energy center, our chakra that helps us to connect to our power, to our vital life force. This is our inner sun, where we hold the energy of our will and our trust. We can connect to that power within to feel really clear and confident in our decisions, in the fearlessness we need to be fully seen, to be seen in our authenticity, in our authentic light. And because the solar plexus is slightly below our diaphragm, when we breathe deeply from our diaphragm, so not from our chest, not so our shoulders are moving up, but so our belly is moving, that expands and creates so much space for our heart. It creates space in our chest. As we breathe into our solar plexus, into our diaphragm, the energy of our inner sun opens and helps to connect and support the energy of our heart. So, what the meditation insight was bringing my attention to was this tight, contracted, anxious feeling within the solar plexus. And it felt like a question of what part of us, what part of you that you are wanting to share or show or express is making you feel smaller, is making you contract, is making you twist, is causing worry and discomfort, is making you want to shrink or dim your light. It feels like for the month of June, we are being asked to take a leap, to take a new direction, a new door, something that has been waiting for us to move forward on. And for the first week of June, our solar plexus may be helping us. Something may be bubbling up within this energy center to remind us of something we need to pay attention to. So can you focus on your solar plexus? Can you bring attention? If you are feeling anxious, if you're feeling that contraction, that twist, that tightness, can you bring your attention there and maybe even allow your anxiety to speak? Instead of trying to shake it away or exercise it away or ignore it, what if you went towards it? Because it does feel like by paying attention to that, by understanding what the message is there, that will set us up for more brilliance throughout the month, but especially this week. And if you don't know how to do that, that is a big part of my work, is helping you connect to the emotional and spiritual links to certain discomfort and unease within our physical body. And anxiety can be a tricky one. So if this is resonating, you can always book a session with me too, if you would like to really work on that one-on-one. That's what our work together can really support. So the next thing that came through was more physical again, a fiery heat within the throat. And this right away felt like opening of our mouth and fire coming out. And this has come through in a meditation before in past energy impressions. Not often, but I recognized it. And so this felt like insight and a bit of gentle guidance to pay attention to our words this week, watching our words, to think and feel before we speak. We may want to really say some fiery things. Maybe this week it's more important to say those things, but maybe speaking to yourself first instead of rushing towards whoever you are feeling called to speak to. And that could be speaking to a lot of people. This could also mean expressing on your social media or through other ways that you're connecting with groups of people. Pay attention to what you're saying because it may not be taken the way that you are meaning it to come across. Feeling like maybe some miscommunication could arise for this week. So instead of that miscommunication, can you communicate with yourself? Instead of having that conversation that this fire really wants to have, can those fiery words be directed at yourself so you can have a conversation with what you're wanting to say? What is wanting to be expressed? What is that fire wanting to say? Say it to yourself and then keep asking for more. Ask yourself questions. Have a real dialogue with yourself. But watch the spontaneity of the fiery words this week. And then the next thing in the meditation for this week was an image of all of these hands reaching out. So hands reaching out, opening up, reaching out. And that really felt like a symbol of the opportunities that we could have this week. Instead of speaking those fiery words to others, this week could be about reaching out to others to reconnect. And instead of that fire, I see the hands reaching out as more not from the fire of the breath of the words, but with our hearts, reaching out with our hearts. Our palms are often referred to as the sub-chakras, energy centers of our hearts. So pay attention to the fiery words as insight and care for yourself. But when you are feeling the need to reach out, connect, reconnect, follow what your heart is feeling. Opportunities to follow your heart for connection feel big this week. Who are you thinking about? What are you feeling like sharing? Is there a voice not from the fire, but from your heart that is waiting to be heard? Small or big? Your heart may be calling for something. So pay attention and then act on it, especially if it feels more vulnerable. How are you feeling called to reconnect, to reach out? Pay attention to those opportunities and don't close the door. Because if you are feeling that voice from your heart, if you are feeling called to reconnect, to reach out, to share, but you find yourself making excuses for why not now, why you can't, why it's not a good idea, why not? Ask yourself that. Ask your heart that. The old adage of, if not now, when? Because maybe those fiery words, maybe those are more of a protection. Maybe those are a pretty smart way for your heart to be shielded. Lashing out can be easier sometimes than reaching out. So pay attention to how you can reach out this week and how not to lash out this week. Because there is some tension this week. That anxiety was very strong as I tuned into the energy. And that feels like the tension point that some refer to it as of the ending and then the beginning. Because it does feel like this week will show many of us that we are, if not at the end fully, we are ending an era, the end of an era, ready for the new to emerge, ready for that new beginning, the new cycle. And that is where the animal comes in. And I love these meditations and how I receive the energy impressions, because I do the meditation and then I write down everything that came through and then I share it with you. But as I'm sharing it, like as I'm literally speaking it to you, I'm seeing all of the dots connecting, and I just love the clarity that it's offering me. So I hope that it's offering a bit to you too. And the animal helps us even more, because the animal that showed up for this week was the beaver. The beaver. The energy of the beaver is the building of dreams. And that's what we're doing in this new era. That's what all the endings have done, helping us build these new, more authentic, more clear dreams. Now, if you have never watched a video of a beaver making a dam, I recommend it. It is very inspiring, and you may even get some inspiration from your intuition while watching it. But the beaver really represents the opportunity to reflect on building upon your dreams. It represents the energy of perseverance and courage, of trusting the flow, of abundance, of inspired action, of that clear vision, of momentum, of building our dreams, not only for us, but for our family, for our home, however that looks in your life. It helps us connect to true problem solving, solving puzzles, but using our talents and skills. Because the beaver, this is from Ted Andrews' Animal Speak, the beaver is an excellent swimmer. It can stay submerged for up to 15 minutes at a time. It has extra large lungs, and it can take in more oxygen and tolerate more carbon dioxide than humans. Because of this, beaver can also teach lessons about breath and its control for the greatest health and effectiveness. If beaver has come into your life, ask yourself, have you been neglecting your most basic dreams? Are your dreams in need of some repair work? Or are you or others around you becoming too lost in your dreams, always dreaming and never acting? Remember that the beaver reminds us that we have to act on our dreams to make them a reality. When it shows up, it is time for action. It can show us how to construct wonderful dreams. They work so beautifully with trees, with the earth, creating from the earth, creating from the ground, the growth of the ground, the abundance around. So the more grounded that we are, the more grounded and centered and calm in our nervous system, the more clarity we'll have for not only what we already have, so the abundance around us that we can use to build our dreams that maybe we were not paying attention to, but it will also help us have that clarity, that grounded clarity, to know what next step to take. You don't need to know all the steps, just the next one. One of the best Joseph Campbell quotes. Not all of them are great, but this is one of the best. You take one step towards the gods, and they take 10 steps to you. Often the quote is 10,000 steps to you. So by taking one, then more clarity. Take another, more clarity, and another. Step by step. But another thing about the beaver is their teeth are orange. And when I see this, right away, it connects me to creativity. Orange is corresponding to the energy of our creativity. And this felt like intuitively a message of maybe the medicine or the antidote to the fiery words or the deep anxiety. Maybe the medicine is connecting to your creativity. What does your creativity feel like? The spirit of your creativity. How does it move through you? What does it want to express? When is the last time you tuned into it? When is the last time you honored it? How can you be creative? Because sometimes our creative spirit feels like anxiety. We get this buildup of energy within us. And when we don't honor it, we don't express or share, create, then it builds and builds and builds. And if there's nowhere for it to go, it can very often feel like deep, tight, contracted, anxious energy. Because maybe it really wants us to pay attention to it. So it just gets bigger and bigger and more uncomfortable. And if you are creative, you know how that feels. So this week, can you create more space? Not only for your heart, not only for your breath, but also for your creativity. So you can really, truly take those inspired actions towards the building of your dreams. And maybe for some of us, this energy is helping to spotlight our skills and our talents, the natural, specific ones that we have, each of us uniquely have. Because the beaver has incredible skills, creating dams, taking down the trees, working with the trees, working with the ecosystem. That is their talent. That is their skill. So it could also be for some of us a reminder to connect to what feels very natural and easy, what skill of yours or talent feels so natural that you don't even perceive it as a talent. That's not how you see it. How can you nurture and use your skills and talents? How can you honor them more so that they can really be expanded and built upon to help you build your dreams? And then I have some intuitive questions that you can use as journal prompts or say it in a voice note to yourself. These are 3 questions that will help you focus even more on what you need to know or remember or connect to for this week. So the first question, if your anxiety could say one thing to you, what would it be? What does your anxiety want you to know? And really trust what comes. Don't judge it. This is for you. And the second question, if your heart could say one thing to you, what would it be? What does your heart want you to know? And then the last one, now before you answer this one, and you could do this with the first 2 as well, but definitely with this one, take a nice deep breath, maybe deep breath through your nose, and then let that breath out through your mouth. Maybe do that 3 times. And this is clearing away any preconceived thoughts or ideas or judgments about how you're going to answer it. So 3 nice grounding breaths, focusing on your breath, moving in and moving out. And then answer this. What dream are you building? What dream are you building? What is the dream? and then expand on that. Connect to what the dream is, don't judge it, and expand on it, meaning get really clear in your vision, in your feeling, in your understanding on what that dream is. And then don't think about it, but trust that whatever actions you're feeling called to take, because you have connected so clearly and felt so deeply into the dream, that your actions are building towards that dream. So that's a very simple one, but important, and sometimes one of the difficult ones, because our brain wants to come in and say, no, how could that ever happen? Or what are you thinking? Or all of these reasons why not, or why it's so difficult, or why it hasn't happened, or. This week, if this is resonating with you, don't worry or even focus on how. Focus on what the dream is, and then focus on zooming into it, feeling it, seeing it, getting it into your reality, at least the reality of your energy, so that you can always connect to it. And it will build, but what does it look like now? So really try your best to clear away your preconceptions, do your breathing, focus within, get grounded, and then ask, what dream am I building? What is the dream? What is it? Did you just think of it? Did you shoo it away because it seems impossible? No. What is the dream? And if you do have that coming to you quickly, the criticism, the nagging mind, voice saying, how dare you dream that? How dare you even think about it? Then you will, for sure, want to learn the art of spoon bending with me in a beautiful group on June 21st. That will help you so much. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode of Intuitive Seek. And I would love to hear if you resonate with the energy that I am feeling about this week of June 2nd. And also for all of June from the last episode, please reach out if you want to. Do not hesitate. I love to connect with you. You can message me in the show notes through my website at treenlight.com or through my Instagram at treenlight.healing. And very much appreciated if you subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcasts. And if you feel called to give some support, please feel free to share this episode with a friend. If you feel called, leave a review. And thank you again for listening. Be kind to yourself, and I will talk to you next week.
Hi, Auntie Mary. I just wanted to say something very, very mean.